Hello and welcome to That Shooting Show. My name's Steve Anderson. I am your humble host. Want to thank our partners first. You know them, you love them. Say them with me in your Subarus. Walther is the title sponsor of this program and of AndersonShooting.com. Want to remind you that the Walther PDP steel frame is the finest production pistol I have ever handled in my entire life. That's not just hyperbole, sometimes known as hyperbole if you don't know how to pronounce it. But I'm just telling you, it's the best. It's just all there is to it. The polymer frame PDP is excellent, but when you get your mitts on a steel frame Walther PDP, you'll be like, oh my goodness, this is wonderful. And if for some reason you don't feel like that, it's got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Walther's going to give you your money back and send you on down the road to the inferior firearm of your choice. Also, Targets USA manufactures the finest steel targetry on the planet. It is portable, it is affordable, it is the very best. CR Speed, as you know, manufactures the finest gun handling gadgetry on the planet. There is nothing better than a CR Speed mag pouch, and there is no better race holster than a CR Speed. That's all there is to it. Hunter's HD Gold, as you know, is the only eyewear that I wear, and you know that I are wearing it right now. OutdoorDynamics.net remanufactures the finest competition ammunition you can dispense from a Freedom Seed dispenser. The AMG-Lab.com Commanderson timer continues to turn heads and blow minds by putting the time into the tablet. And Shooting Sports Innovations is a lot to type because there is a lot to see. Want to let you know we have mental management starting this evening at 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Now, this program will be out roughly 3 p.m. Eastern Time, so you've got 3 to 6 hours to sign up for these. They're the only online classes we're going to be doing in November. We'll be adding December dates here very shortly, but if you have gotten value out of this free program, and if you are ready to take your mental game to the next level, and if you are willing to do some things that are counterintuitive and things you will be reluctant to do, but you do want to get your mental game to the next level, this is the way. I promise you, I assure you, this is the way. Starting tonight, November the 7th, 6 p.m. and 9 p.m., and then continuing for the next 2 Thursdays, 3 2-hour classes, $300, the best investment you will ever make. We also have a collaboration class with 2 spots left in Okeechobee, Florida. I will be handling match mode, shot calling, accuracy at speed. Keita Bussey is going to come in and do a segment on movement. We're going to cut the class in half. She's going to do her thing over on the one side. I'm going to do my thing over on the other side, and it is going to be awesome. Right? Her understanding of the technical aspects of movement is really, really impressive to me because my understanding of it has always been do this sooner, do that sooner. She's like, sure, you're going to do those things sooner. Here's exactly how you're going to do them. And she's going to be showing you that. It is a Monday, Tuesday class at Okeechobee next week, November 11th and 12th. I know Monday and Tuesday is kind of a pain, but I also know a lot of you folks in Florida are independently wealthy and or in control of your time. Well, if you're trying to get to the next level, we are the best in the business at the 2 respective things that we do, and we've got a rare opportunity to have, we got 2 spots left, Okeechobee, Florida, to join me and Keita Bussey for a match mode experience combined with a movement experience. Call it moving match mode, call it the mental management of movement, call it whatever you want. 2 spots left. Let me know right away if you want to get in on that. Steve at AndersonShooting.com. We're also booking classes for 2025. If you have a range and you want me to come to your range and put on any style of class, we can do match mode coaching. I've actually got an entirely new class that's going to train the entire sport with one range setup. Really excited about that. All you need to do is pick a date with me, and then we'll set the date, put it on the website, get it promoted, get it filled, and you, as the class sponsor, will get the class for free. It's very, very simple, but the problem is everybody says, hey, are these dates available? I say, yeah, these dates are available. People choose dates, and then the dates I gave you are no longer available. So literally all we need to do, find a range, pick a date, let's get this thing done. All right, so what I want to talk about today is something that I've been sort of percolating for a while. And today I'm going to pull back the curtain on the percolation, and I'm going to talk to you about this idea that I've been thinking about. It's not really new, but it's something that has recently really crystallized for me. And that is, I have discovered how to think about nothing while you're shooting. Everybody says I shoot my best when I'm not thinking and I don't care. What they don't do is find a way to replicate that in an environment where they are thinking and they do care. Well, I know how to do that, and I'm going to lay out the case for how to do that pretty specifically today, and you'll become a believer. It's just that simple. So it starts here. Thinking with the conscious mind is necessary for improvement. The conscious mind is really great at evaluating options and making decisions. However, it can only do this with one thing at a time. This is why thinking a lot while you're shooting produces very erratic, very herky-jerky, certainly not smooth performance. And that's literally because the conscious mind is evaluating options and making decisions while you're shooting. If you don't know your stage plan, conscious mind has to navigate. If you're not sure where to reload, the conscious mind has to wake up and manage that process. If you choose to think about an individual technique with the conscious mind, it can do that, but it's not very good at it, and it can only do it with one thing at a time. So in training, this is ideal. In training, we're going to choose one thing at a time for the conscious mind to be in control of. We're going to be evaluating options, making decisions, improving technique. This is all wonderful. However, the actual shooting may not be great while this is happening. If I'm working on movement, I shouldn't expect to have great hits on target while I'm thinking about my feet. I shouldn't expect that, because nobody shoots great when they're thinking about their feet. But it is necessary for improvement. Okay? If you think about a draw, okay, well, what should I do? Some things will slip during this process. If I decide, for example, to preset my shoulder height a little bit, have the shoulder come up, to get that done before the timer goes off, that's great. I might miss my grip. But what happens is people miss their grip, and it invalidates the entire concept. Well, that didn't work because I missed my grip. Well, you didn't miss your grip because of a new concept. You missed your grip because you changed something. Right? This is good. This is part of the process. If we're trying to reload the gun a little quicker, it's very simple. Get the angles the same, get on the mag pouch sooner, hit the mag button more decisively, more sooner. Do things sooner. The great thing about the word sooner is it doesn't create tension and mistakes the way the word faster does. If I tell you just to reload the gun faster, if I tell you just to draw the gun faster, it's going to create tension. You're going to make more mistakes than normal. So let's get that out of the way. The conscious mind is necessary for training. And the best way to enhance your training is to indulge in goal-based training using the preload, action, reload method. If there's something technical you're trying to do and you're struggling with it, if you preload it by visualizing getting it right, make your attempt regardless of how it goes, and reload it by visualizing getting it right, you're going to get it right at least 66% of the time. Your job is to take a new technique or enhanced technique and do the new way enough times so that it becomes subconscious, which makes it the only way. That's your job in training. And the self-image must be protected during this process. If I learn some fancy new thing to do on the draw, but I miss my grip a couple times, I've got to celebrate the success of the new thing. And you shouldn't expect in training to get everything right all the time. If you are getting everything right all the time, you're not really training. Okay? That's just all there is to it. But you do have to protect the self-image while this is happening so that you don't damage your opinion of the new skill. In fact, your opinion of the training process is as important as the training you're doing, if not potentially more so. Now, negative imprints during training is the second biggest problem in the sport. If I go out and practice one-handed, I suck, I still suck, I suck less, I still suck. Those ideas are going to prevent any improvement from happening and or showing up in your actual shooting. Okay, because self-image is always a filter for subconscious skill. And no, you cannot become a great one-handed shooter by sitting there and imagining yourself to be a great one-handed shooter. It doesn't work that way. However, if you are doing the work and you don't at least acknowledge that you're getting better, you're never going to get access to that skill. And this is true for everything. So let's see, let me make sure, check my notes here. Right, so negative imprints are the second biggest problem in the sport, which brings us back to the number one biggest problem in the sport, which is the conscious control of speed and competition. If you ever hear somebody tell you to speed up or slow down, go fast here, go slow there, push it over here, relax over there, it's wrong. It's dead 100% wrong. The conscious control of speed and competition will always cause you to choose a speed that is either too fast or too slow for the accuracy requirements that you're trying to deal with. Always. Okay. However, in training, speed must be controlled, or you're not going to get any faster. Right? You've got to control your speed. But as you're getting faster, don't expect great shooting while you're getting faster. I mean, you could do it that way, but that is literally the reason why people used to say it takes 10 years and 1,000,000 rounds to make master. An incremental speed gain, and we're complaining about the accuracy. An incremental accuracy gain, we're complaining about the speed. Not only are we not improving, but our opinion of the process is so poor that we're never going to get any access to any subconscious skill that we have created. Okay? So, how do we prevent the conscious control of speed and competition? We do that by learning to call our shots. That's how we do that. You're going to literally become a silent observer of your shooting, and you're simply going to watch yourself shoot the gun. Now, this is something that many of you have experienced. Maybe you don't describe it that way, but I've heard many people describe their best shooting as, I was just kind of following the gun around, watching it go off. Well, when you learn to call your shots, you can do that every time. Because if you're just kind of following the gun around, watching it go off, you probably are calling your shots. And this simply cannot be overstated. The power of getting the pinnacle of your speed and accuracy at the same time. The way to do that is to shoot at the speed of sight and call every shot. Not only is it the smartest technical thing you can do, but it's the absolute best thing to not think about. And I say not think about because I've come to the conclusion that calling every shot is occupying the conscious mind without thoughts. Now, you probably won't start there. You'll probably start there by telling yourself to call your shots throughout the entirety of the stage. Call every shot, call every shot, call every shot. This is a good place to start. However, when you have demonstrable, verifiable success with this, you'll begin to trust it. Once you begin to trust it, you will no longer need to tell yourself to do it over and over again, and you will achieve thinking about nothing. This is the thing that I really want you to understand that I've never laid out by itself before. Okay? So training creates subconscious skill. We're on the same page there? Good. Getting access to subconscious skill is a function of two things. Strong self-image regarding your opinion of the skill and or your ability to execute the task, in our case, stage plan. And the conscious mind must be occupied so it doesn't attempt to micromanage subconscious skill. That's the thing we have to do. Shot calling is the best way to do this. And it just so happens to be the best technical thing you can do to get the best speed and accuracy that you're capable of. In fact, if there's anything you can do to get an increase in speed and accuracy at the same time, that's shot calling. It's not really an increase, it's access to current speed and current accuracy, but the performance will look like an increase in speed and accuracy, meaning you'll shoot faster and more accurately than you were when you weren't calling every shot. It's just that simple. Now, this is something that's going to be very difficult to experience by yourself. This is a phenomenal environment inside of a shooting class to see this. Because if you're out there by yourself, you shoot something in 6 seconds, you won't know if that's good or bad. And you probably won't be happy with it. But if you're in a group environment, and the group of similar shooters that you've been with for a day and a half or 2 days, one of them shoots it in 12, one of them shoots it 8, one of them shoots it in 9, and you shoot it in 6, now you're going to start to have some success. Some demonstrable, verifiable, repeatable success. You'll begin to trust it. The more you trust it, the more you'll surrender to it. The more you surrender to it, the better it works. Now, if this sounds like a bunch of hippie BS, you need to get your butt to a class because I can absolutely show you how this works on the range in 4 hours. Which, by the way, what I'm going to be doing in Florida. So, you got to learn to call your shots. And shot calling is really the only thing that must be done in live fire. One of the reasons that I have turned down virtually every dry fire gadget in the world for an endorsement, literally every dry fire gadget has approached me and said, hey, will you please endorse our product? The answer is always the same. No, thank you. It's a fine product. I'm not comfortable endorsing it because it's not necessary. And the downside of most of these things, and by the way, the only one I would endorse is Dry Fire King. That's phenomenal. The Ace VR, no issues with that at all. It doesn't appear to cause any bad habits. Now, it's not necessary, but if it inspires people to practice more than they're currently practicing, fine. You know, not a huge fan of the lack of realism in the trigger pull, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be addressed very shortly. So it's fine. It's not necessary, but it's fine. But live fire shooting real bullets in a shot calling environment is really the only thing that you must do on the range. Every single thing. So everything in USPSA, IPSC can be done in dry fire except the second shot on a paper target. That needs live fire. Okay? So it starts out technical. Shoot a couple shots. Where'd they go? Tell me anything you know. And of course, we have a little trick we do to the target so you can't see your bullet holes. Fire 2 shots. Tell me anything you know about those shots. Let's go take a look. Now, the mistake people make here is they go looking for too much detail. If they call a low delta and it's a low Charlie, oh, heck, I got it wrong. I can't do this. That's a negative imprint during training. All we care about in the beginning is up, down, left, right, or straight. Did the bullet go up? Did it go down? Did it go left? Did it go right? Did it go straight? And so we have an errant shot sometimes. Oh, that was my grip. Well, a bad grip doesn't cause a bad shot. Just like a lean or being moving doesn't cause a bad shot. Those things cause the poor sight pictures that produce the bad shots, right? So a poor shot can only be sight or trigger. Quit screaming about grip. Yes, grip's a function of sight and trigger, but the problem is always sight or trigger, which means the sight wasn't on the target where you wanted the bullet to go and you fired it anyway, or the sight was on the target and as you activated the trigger, you disturbed the acceptable sight picture. Can't be anything else. And shot calling will show you these things as they are happening. So we did this in North Carolina. And this happens in every class, but it was really interesting to me. Once we started doing shot calling, about 30 minutes later, the mystery mics disappeared. I said, hey guys, how long has it been since you had a mic? Oh, we haven't had one. How long has it been since you had a Delta? Oh, we haven't had one of those in a long time. How long has it been since you had a really wide Charlie? Well, we don't see too many of those. So what are we left with? Alphas and close Charlies. Well, that sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. Now, that's when it's moved into practical shot calling. You move from 1 target to 2 targets. Now we're shooting 2 targets. As the number of shots goes up, the level of detail goes down, which is fine. Because on a 30-round field course, you cannot know the location of every bullet. However, you can know if there was a stinker. And you can make up your stinkers. And one of the things that I didn't realize right away is that a lot of the speed from shot calling comes from not looking at your bullet holes. That takes a very, very, very long time. And I have met numerous IDPA shooters who have told me we always look for our bullet holes. Well, okay, that's gonna prevent some ones and threes for sure, but at the upper levels, inside of each classification, somebody doesn't have to do that. That person can call their shots. Okay? There's also two, maybe more than two, but let's start with two. Think about a scalpel method of shot calling where you're going to see where your dot or sight lifts from. That is where that bullet went. That's appropriate for headshots. It's appropriate for steel. It's appropriate for more difficult shots. Okay, the scalpel. Here's my scalpel. In this case, my dot or my sight. Saw it lift. That's where the bullet went. Within a margin of error, roughly the size of a softball or a grapefruit. Okay. Now, the other way is the paintbrush. The paintbrush means my sights or dots stayed in acceptable area of the target. This is like how you'd shoot a bill drill, right? As long as your paintbrush stays within the lines, those are good shots. And you may see your paintbrush go a little low. You may see your paintbrush go a little high. So which means that bullet may have gone a little high or a little low. And whether it did or not depends on a lot of things. When people start learning to call their shots, they will call a lot of shots higher than normal because they're seeing the upper end of the lift as opposed to the beginning of the lift. And if it goes off to one side, that doesn't necessarily mean the bullet went there because the bullet's already gone by that point, but it does reveal a grip inconsistency potentially. Oh my God, Anderson, let's talk about grip. Yes, we have to talk about grip a little bit, but we're done now. So, you've got technical shot calling on one target, practical shot calling on multiple targets. You've got the scalpel method of shot calling and the paintbrush method of shot calling. We can show you all of those in class. Now, if you're going to have shot calling be your singular focus, and I fully support that, you have to understand that it absolutely requires a subconscious stage plan. If you are navigating the stage while you're attempting to call every shots, now we have at least one, potentially two, depending on how good we are at it and how we see it. But you've got more conscious thought than is necessary. Certainly more conscious thought than is ideal for good shooting. Okay? So we need to begin reducing thoughts in our subconscious stage plan by reducing the words. Okay? As you're walking the stage and you're beginning to memorize it, you're beginning to visualize it, you need to do two things. You need to reduce the number of words you're using, and you need to make sure that you're accumulating positive imprints. Okay? For example, it may start out, okay, shoot the steel, don't miss the steel, run really fast, go to the corner, you got one on the outside, you got one on the inside, make sure we shoot alphas there. Then I'm going to shuffle over here to the next side. Am I going to do a reload? No, this isn't where I do my reload. It's a lot of conscious thought. Those thoughts, those words need to be replaced with a picture of you doing that. And the only thoughts required is, I can do this. This is going to go very well. I can make these shots. Those are examples of the positive imprints that have to be accumulated during the stage planning process for best shooting. Now, you don't need to take my word for it. All you have to do is look at your best stages, and you were already doing this. Your best stages, you were looking forward to it. You thought it played to your strengths. You were excited to go shoot it. Well, guess what? Those are positive imprints. Some of your worst stages were the opposite. Oh, this thing sucks. These are hard shots. Everybody's taking a mic on the swinger. Those are negative imprints. These affect your shooting because they go straight to self-image where they act as a filter for your subconscious skill. So the other thing you can do during your walkthrough, we've already reduced a lot of the words. Now you're going to begin surrendering to a point of focus. Something regarding calling every shot. Most of you know, center the dot, call the shot is my personal point of focus with a dot gun. I will see what I need to see is my point of focus with an iron sight gun. Because if I put the dot in the middle of every target and I watch it lift, that's going to be the best, fastest shooting I can do today. And with iron sights, if I see what I need to see without trying to define it ahead of time, because that can get you into trouble, we'll talk about that just a little bit. So with iron sights, I used to tell myself, my buddy's 1911, I used to tell myself front sight, front sight, front sight. Okay? Well, I don't need a crystal clear front sight focus to hit a 3-yard target. I just don't need it. I need to see something. 3 yards, I need to see the top of the gun. That's all I need to see. But I'm seeing something. The problem is if I tell myself to see the front sight for every shot and I don't do it on the 3-yard target, I've already violated my wedding vows. I'm literally being unfaithful on my wedding night, which is not something I would ever do. Okay? So, I will see what I need to see. It means on a 3-yard target, that's what I need to see. 15-yard headshot, in this case it's a John Wick action figure. Yeah, that's where it's happening. Okay? Because I'm seeing what I need to see. And some of you tech wizards, please tell me, how in the world am I getting a thumbs up on my computer screen while I'm recording this? What in the world is giving me a thumbs up? Could it be the gun giving me a thumbs up? Is Siri evaluating my presentation and my sight picture? That's weird. Okay. If anybody can tell me why I'm getting a thumbs up on a QuickTime movie recording, please let me know, because that was very weird. All right, so we're going to surrender to that point of focus. We're going to start surrendering to it during the walkthrough. It's extremely good for dealing with invasive or intrusive thoughts. If you're walking that stage and you're worried about something, you're going to replace it with center of the dot, call the shot. If you're worried about a reload, you're going to see yourself doing that reload. Don't talk yourself through it. See yourself doing it right. Those events are real. Every visualization you do of a good reload goes right to your self-image as a successful event. It's not hippie BS. It's real. Okay? Now, the biggest question I get on shot calling as a point of focus is, does it run on a loop or is it one and done? So this is where it gets really interesting. If you're somebody who has been thinking a lot, you're going to need a firewall to prevent all that conscious thought chatter. So you'll need to stay on center of the dot, call the shot, center of the dot, call the shot. Over time, when you have success with it and you begin to trust it, it will work one and done. When you believe that this environment is the best shooting you can do, and you really trust that, remember from yesterday, the last part of consistency is trust. When you trust it and you don't try to put some speed on it, that's when it works the best. Precisely because we've occupied the conscious mind, we have a subconscious stage plan, and our self-image believes we're going to be successful and or isn't worried about the results. Okay? So, in the beginning, yes, maybe a loop. Later on, one and done. And the magic of that is when you get to one and done and you're not tempted to think about anything else or micromanage subconscious skill, you will have achieved thinking about nothing. Because now you're just watching the gun go off, monitoring for unacceptable shots. It's fascinating and awesome. Okay? Now, sometimes the conscious mind is required to wake up and do something during the stage. Center of the dot, call the shot. Oh, I dropped my magazine. Oh, I should probably pick that up. And we have to go back to center of the dot, call the shot. If we slip and fall. If we have a bad malfunction. The conscious mind may be required to solve that. It's critical that you go back to the occupation of the conscious mind, center of the dot, call the shot, so the conscious mind doesn't wake up to keep solving problems. Conscious mind is great at solving problems, but it can only do so one at a time. And you're not going to shoot very well during that process. And for the love of Pete, if you have a time suck on a stage, when you recover from that time suck, you absolutely must shoot points. You absolutely need to be shooting points when you recover. The only thing worse than a 3 or 4 second malfunction, standing reload, slip and fall, something like that, the only thing worse than that is poor points and penalties after that. It's important for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's the only way to salvage your hit factors, to shoot points. Number 2, maybe more importantly, you've already decided what to do. This doesn't mean slow down and get your hits. It means shoot points when you recover from a time suck. And I want to remind you, point number 12 here, that the splits between a single target, the time between shots on one target, is the dumbest place to go looking for time to save. Dumbest place. It's the most risk for the least amount of reward. Now, you may get to a point where you and another shooter are doing everything the same. You might need to pick up your splits a little bit, but that is going to be the absolute last place you go looking. And if that's something that you need to do, you need to be firing, I'm not sure if a boatload of ammo has to be more than a boatload. It would depend on the size of the butt and or the size of the boat. So a large buttload would be more than a small boatload. But I think in general, boatload is more. So it's going to require a boatload of ammunition. Because remember, shot calling is really the only thing you need bullets for. Man, I wish I'd known that sooner than I did. Okay, number 13, shot calling will provide instant makeup shots when acceptable accuracy is defined. Okay, so we're going to talk about green, yellow, and red. A green shot means I called that an alpha, which means you're going to have some number of close charlies. When you're calling your shots well, the biggest problem you're going to have is a close charlie. That's good. Wouldn't it be great if that was your biggest problem? Wouldn't you love to come off the stage and you go, oh man, I had a couple of close charlies? And that's because of the margin of error. Okay? A yellow shot is very, very small. Yellow means that was not an alpha, but there's no way it's a mic. It's usually going to be a wide charlie. Whether to leave those or make them up, you can't have a lot of those. Can't be making them up every single time. However, they're very easy to prevent. It's easier to prevent a wide charlie than it is to stress about making it up. A red shot is for sure a delta, maybe a mic. Those must be made up on open targets. Must. Deltas on open targets are non-penalty mics. Just think of them that way. Okay? The coolest thing about shot calling is the first thing that happens is you get rid of mystery mics. I'm not going to say you'll never have a mic, but you won't be surprised. And it may even have been a decision to leave a mic. But guys, if you're having mystery mics where you thought everything was cool, you're probably firing 2 shots on one sight picture. You're probably trying to rip doubles, and it's probably the second shot. Well, shot calling will show you that. And shot calling would also show you how fast you can rip your damn doubles if that's something you need to do. Shot calling will tell you that. Okay? So think about green, yellow, and red. Now, how do we practice it? In match mode, we do a really cool thing in class where we pit the shooters against each other, and if they have a mic or a delta, their time does not count for score. That's a phenomenal way to practice that, because imagine how well you'd do if you went to a match and had defined even a delta on an open target as unacceptable. So if deltas are unacceptable, that means there's no way I'm going to have a mic on an open target, because I'm seeing what I need to see. And because I'm competing against other people, I don't have the option of slowing down. And I also don't have the option of speeding up, because then I'm going to get a mic or a delta. So this is literally how we learn to avoid the conscious control of speed, by leaving only acceptable shots as quickly as we can see them. It's always the second half of day 1 in my classes, and it's typically when the light bulb comes on. Because if you do this by yourself, you can tell yourself it's slow. But if you do this with a group of similarly skilled shooters and you're beating them, you can't tell yourself it's slow anymore. And going fast produces a mic or a delta. I'm not even going to tell you how fast you were. You'll never know. Okay? It's also very easy to practice in dry fire. The only downside of dry fire is the splits. You don't get to keep them. They are realistic splits because the gun's not moving, but they are unrealistic live fire splits. So I don't believe in slowing down splits in dry fire. I believe in pulling triggers fast as we want to, precisely because we are seeing what we need to see. Does that make sense? Okay? If I'm dry firing an iron sight gun, I can pull the trigger twice because I'm seeing what I need to see. The only thing I got to do when I go to the range is make sure I still do that as the gun is recoiling. So now we've introduced recoil. Now the gun's moving. Now I can't pull the trigger twice on one sight picture, but I can watch it come back down. And I can shoot when it does. It's pretty awesome. And the other thing I want to tell you about match mode dry fire, we haven't talked about that in a while, but I have run into several people who will intentionally slow down their match mode dry fire. That is an error. The only real difference between match mode dry fire and speed mode dry fire is makeup shots. Because instead of going after a par time, now we're leaving only acceptable hits as quickly as we can see them. So we got to activate the makeup switch. There's going to be some errant shots. Well, that's fine. We're going to correct them. It's also a great place to learn about green, yellow, and red. Okay? All right, so just to sum up what we've talked about today, I'm ready to tell you that I have concluded that shot calling is the best way to shoot well while thinking about nothing. Because when you're doing shot calling correctly, you are not thinking about it. You are simply observing it with zero conscious thought. And it's something I would love to show you how to do on the range. Okay? So if you've got some time, Monday and Tuesday of next week, come see me in Kitabussy in Florida, Okeechobee. Just email me, steve@andersonshooting.com. I'll give you all the details. If you have a range, you want to do a class in 2025, let me know that. Let's get that on the books. And if you want to do mental management, it starts tonight at 6 p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, your choice. So until we meet again on the range, on the Zoom, on the phone, here in the bunker, or anywhere else, be like me, do what I do, say it with me. 1, 2, 3, love you, bye, and get to work.